All right, if you haven't watched all of season 4 of Shameless, then you should cover your ears for the next few minutes. Emmy Rossum is here, plays Fiona Gallagher. What the heck was with that ending? With the Jimmy Steve part is the one that I'm more talking about. Was like, did John Wells call you guys after and just start laughing at you?
David Nevins called me immediately after and was literally like, "Ha, gotcha!" And I was so mad that nobody told me. In fact, it wasn't in the script. They flew Justin Chow into Chicago and had him shoot this stuff with a different crew, different hair and makeup, different everything, because they knew that our crew is so tight, everyone would just blab. And yeah, it blew my mind. In fact, I learned about it from Twitter because I wasn't even watching it when it aired.
My gosh, and it seemed like I remember when that happened, and I'd gone to Twitter and everybody was exploding, and you and the rest of your cast, it seemed like nobody knew except for, I guess, Justin Chatwin. Crazy. And so getting over to Fiona, I want to read off a really quick kind of a list that I made just from of what has gone on with Fiona this season. So she started off having a great job, a good boyfriend.
Yep.
Episode 2, she finds out she's got an older sister that she had no idea that she had. Episode 4, cheats on her good boyfriend Mike with his rehabbed brother Robbie. Starts with drugs in episode 5, and Liam ends up finding it and ODs. 6 was a pretty hard episode for Fiona, where she goes off to jail. Liam's in the hospital, and then Lip, your brother, who you guys have always had such a cool relationship, just hates her, just hates Fiona. And then the whole trial and the house arrest, and Fiona falls off the wagon in episode 10 because of Robbie again. Episode 11, you're in jail, and then episode 12, you get out of jail. Fiona, that is, not you personally, and and you get a job as a waitress. But then Ian, who comes back into the picture, all of a sudden could be like Monica and be bipolar. What did you do to these writers that they would just throw all of these things at you this season?
I don't know. You're giving me anxiety. I feel like I'm living through it all over again. It was, obviously it's like a blessing and a curse. You get so excited when you get a great storyline like that, and then you go, oh God, now I have to live through it, and all of my friends and my family have to live through that with me. So it was definitely an intense season, but I was very grateful to get the material that I did. I really felt like I actually must have done something right to get that kind of responsibility. It was good.
Yeah, no, it is great, and it actually seemed like everybody this season on the cast kind of grew into their own character more so than before. I mean, well, there was a whole Frank deliver, and then Emily Burgle came on playing Sammy, his new daughter, and that was great. And Sheila concocts some weird way to marry Frank so that she can take over some kids.
And yeah.
Yeah, but and then Carl went on a whole Bonnie and Clyde type of adventure with this girl that he met. Debbie got in a fight over an older guy. And then the Ian-Mickey relationship was great. Probably one that was one of the most praised of this season for relationship. And then, Lip goes off to college, and then he kind of takes over the Fiona role in a few episodes we see in the middle of the season. So how was it, as Emmy and as Fiona, to see everybody kind of grow up, because these are kind of your kids?
Yeah, and I'm an only child, so I've always wanted that kind of functionally dysfunctional big kind of family, and I always imagined, having Thanksgivings and Christmases that were full of noise and laughter and eggnog or whatever people do at that time of year. And the Gallagher version of that is kind of like laughter, noise, eggnog, suicide attempts, drug overdoses, bipolar disorder, maybe a little stint in jail, rehab, ankle monitors. So it's definitely a little bit more colorful than I had maybe imagined when I was a kid, but it is incredibly fun, and we do get to straddle that weird balance of realism and humanity in the characters, and the awful stuff that they have to go through day to day in this depressed economy that they're living in, just trying to get by, with this kind of like farcical surrealistic humor. So it's a difficult interesting balance to strike.
And Veronica and Kevin and their marriage, and then Ian and Mickey and their relationship, it seemed like Shameless, for all the stuff the bad stuff that goes on, there are these good things in there, these strong love relationships. Can you speak to that first of all, and then also can you I mean, do you ever go to the writers like, why can't Fiona just be in one of these relationships? Why can't we just settle already?
I think I said something like, why can't she just get it together, figure it out, and be happy? And then they said, that's boring. And Fiona hasn't really had a good example of what a happy relationship is. Kevin, Veronica are kind of the only thing that comes close to that for her. So the idea of her kind of just organically finding that pretty easily is probably not that all that realistic.
But even Kevin and Veronica, I mean, that story has its own weird, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Veronica had Kev sleep with her mother because she found out she was infertile. And so her mother's pregnant with her husband's baby. And then turns out she is fertile, actually, because the actress got pregnant. And then they've made her character pregnant, too. So it's definitely slightly surrealistic. And we're definitely not always going for authentic. But then you have these real moments of humanity and tenderness between these characters. So you can laugh and cry with them. It's kind of a cool tone.
Well, with that kind of, well, not kind of, that insane storyline of the sleep with my mom so the baby can have our DNA. It seems
Yeah.
like Shameless is not scared to cross lines and cut boundaries. Is there anything that you guys have done where Showtime was like, we can't put that on air, or were even the creators and writers were like, you know what, we're just going to leave that off?
Interestingly enough, two things, neither of which involved Fiona, who usually kind of anchors everybody. In season 2 or 3, I don't remember which one, Frank had a relationship with a woman that they called Butterface, who was waiting for a heart transplant. And he kind of, when he finally when they call with the transplant, he kind of says like, oh, we're busy or something like that, and he lets her die. And then there was a scene where he actually had sex with her after she had passed. So we felt that necrophilia was the line we didn't want to cross. That's kind of like sex with a corpse is kind of something you can't come back from. Child abandonment, drug addiction, scheming, stealing from people. You can kind of come back from those things and still be likable. But I think necrophilia was a line. So they said that they never even shot that. And then there was a scene with, actually at the end of season 3, they were actually going to show a scene of Jimmy Steve being dead. They were actually going to show the bad guys playing polo with his severed head. And they went so far as to actually make the cast of his head and not shoot the scene. So actually in our makeup trailer, we do actually have a severed head that looks remarkably similar to Justin Chatwin. Thank God they decided, the network decided not to shoot that. And now we may have Justin Chatwin back in our cast, which I think would have been less possible if they'd shown Polo with a severed head. Those were two things we decided were too far.
That is that would be really hard to bring him back after the severed head thing, unless Shameless went like completely.
Pretty Little Liars. Oh, he has a long lost twin. We're not quite there.
So with what we just went over with Fiona having gone through so much this season, what has been the fan reaction, to you or to Fiona? I mean, do people realize that? Do they get mad that she's kind of done all of this to herself? I mean, the cheating and the drugs and the jail time and the going back to jail. And do they get mad at Fiona or do they get mad at you?
They get mad at me, man. Like, I was on vacation right after we finished shooting, and some guy came up to me on the beach and said, I don't know why you're on the beach. You should be in jail for what you did to that kid with the drugs. So, I mean, I know he was kidding, but TV is different. I mean, people are on your screens 1 hour a week in your home. It's much easier to have that fusion between the actor and the character. So, I mean, I do it too. I can't imagine Peter Dinklage outside of Game of Thrones right now. So I think that, people are definitely mad at me. But at the same time, people are really kind of thrilled with what Fiona went through in a way that kind of tragedy and weird things to put characters through are really interesting to watch, especially when you've watched them kind of be the anchor for so long. It's interesting to change up the dynamic and have Jeremy Allen White's lip be the anchor of the family and Fiona be the screw up.
And so with that kind of screw up mentality and going through such a rough season where it seems like you were in a batting cage and had balls flying at you and you had to swap all of them, and sometimes you miss, sometimes you don't. How did you recover from that as Emmy after you wrapped the season? I mean, you went on vacation. Was that part of it, just to kind of just not be Fiona?
Yeah, turn your phone off, disconnect, stop channeling that area, stop talking and walking and thinking like that fighter mentality that Fiona has. It's almost like a shedding process, like a snake sheds its skin. She's kind of like an old familiar coat that I put on when I go to play her again, and then after the season I have to kind of shrug her off.
With the season, how does it feel to be on a show that just wrapped its 4th season, and is not only its most critically acclaimed season, critics saying that it was actually just one of the best seasons of TV, of all of TV's season, but to also be the highest rated? I mean, usually in your like 3rd or 4th season, the show starts to decline, but you guys found a way just to completely blow everybody out of the water this past season. It must be an amazing feeling to be part of that.
Boom! No, no, not at all. In fact, it's very surreal because I still feel like it's not possible that anybody actually watches this craziness that we make. It's incredibly humbling and flattering, but it also kind of induces this anxiety in me that I had after the pilot, after the 1st season, after the 2nd season, after the 3rd season, that we just have to keep getting better. There's no option that we can get not as good. And I know that a lot of that is up to the writers and what they come up with there, but then a lot of it is how we follow through with that and how we tell the story and the moments that we choose and how we play them, and that we just keep digging further into these relationships and trying to, further that dynamic and grow with the characters. So it's very humbling, and I probably should let that good feeling sink in a little bit more. But I really just think, okay, that's great. Now we have to do better.
Since you guys are so, I guess, immersed into your characters, do the writers give you guys any room to, which way to take Fiona? Like, are you able to go in and say, hey guys, maybe we should do this, or maybe this drug binge isn't a great thing?
Yeah, specifically like with dialogue or tones of certain scenes or jokes or lines, we have some input in that, but in overall kind of like, where is the character going? Like, is Fiona going to have a bad go of it in season 5? I have no say in that kind of a thing.
Gotcha. Obviously, because in Iron City, it seems like they really, really went after you on that one. But that performance brought you a lot of individual acclaim. You hear, I've heard you discuss how difficult that episode actually was to shoot, particularly the strip search scene. Can you tell us how you actually got through that? And what did the script say that you knew just to go to that kind of a place? I mean, I can't imagine it was one of the more fun days.
No, it was awful. I remember reading the script, and it's a scene without dialogue, which are often my favorites, or with little dialogue, because there's so much room to kind of just exist and breathe and react to what's being thrown at you. And in this, Fiona's dealing with so many different feelings. She's dealing with anxiety of not knowing if her brother's going to be okay. She's dealing with the humiliation of literally somebody looking inside her body and thinking that she is a drug addict and a bad person, and feeling like maybe she is in fact a bad person. Maybe she isn't the hero and the type A capable person that she's always thought she could be. Maybe she is Frank after all. So all those things that she's going through. And for me, just kind of, we were shooting in an abandoned jail, so a facility that used to be a jail but isn't anymore, and it hadn't been used in some time, and it smelled like rat urine. So that's a nice thing to go into a scene with. And then, we had that was like maybe the 2nd day on set with director James Ponsalt, who's a wonderful film director. I loved his film Spectacular Now. So, and the actress that was going to be doing the strip search scene, I met her about, 3 or 4 minutes before we rehearsed and did the scene. And they were very good about kind of like keeping people away from set because I'm kind of emotionally and physically very naked in that moment. But it made it all feel very real. It was bleak and it was dark, and you go to that awful place of being completely dehumanized, and then they say cut. Okay, great, let's do it again.
You had to do it more than once?
Yeah, we did it a couple times. But what I do with those things is I always reward myself with something extremely decadent after, like an enormous cupcake the size of my face. And I kind of put it on my cast chair before the scene, and I look at it. And as I'm listening to this painful music and going to this horrible place of knowing what an awful person I am and what a failure I am and blah, 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 I just think that cupcake is waiting for me when I am done here, and it is going to make it all okay. And it doesn't make it all okay, but it sure helps.
That is awesome. Well, for all the drama that Shameless has, there's some very funny, there are funny moments. There are funny, like the Carl stuff, the Bonnie and Clyde stuff. Though all of that's criminal and illegal, it's still, when you're not doing it, it's funny. And you guys have entered the comedy race into this year's Emmys.
Right.
And you've been drama for a while, and it may be time where the show actually starts getting its due. Can you talk about have you always felt that it's been a comedy since Shameless launched?
I mean, it's called Shameless. Even our ads and the way this show is sold is like we're all like partying and drinking beer and like someone's like lighting a cat on fire. So we definitely don't consider ourselves completely a straight show. I think we're probably we're not broad, we're not a sitcom, we're not going for the joke. But I think more often than not, when people approach me on the street, they say, "Oh my God, I love your show. It's hilarious." They don't say, "Oh my God, I love your show. Like, it was so scary when that guy poked that other guy's eyeballs out and his head exploded." We're not Game of Thrones. So I do think we probably have always thought of ourselves more as a comedy. But I think it's a different kind of comedy. I mean, some of my favorite comedies, like As Good as It Gets, they're with characters that are dynamic, that are human, that you can understand with and laugh with as much as you can cry with them. And for me, laughter and tears are just the same, different sides of the same coin. They're just an expression of a feeling. And I don't know. I mean, we're definitely not slapstick, and we're definitely not going for the punchline. But I think more often than not, the humor comes out of these real characters being in these very surreal, bizarre situations.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it seems comedy is changing actually a lot more. There are a lot more, I guess, dramedies you could say on right now, and that seems where Shameless would fit in. With all of you were talking about with Iron City and how tough some of the season has been. How fun is it actually just to be on set with all the people? I mean, do you guys ever go from like a really hard scene and then just break and kind of just, I don't know, clown around?
Well, actually, during that strip search scene, one of the makeup artists had a whoopee cushion that she told me she almost used during the strip search scene. And I probably would have murdered her had she done that. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely joking around and trying to find the levity in it. And I think that, if you don't laugh, you'll cry sometimes. And I think that sometimes laughter comes out of the strangest things that happen. So yeah, I mean, with characters named Butterface and, 10-year-olds robbing banks and, Fiona hiding under a table after she slept with her boss/boyfriend's brother, I definitely don't think we're totally playing it straight.
Right. And congratulations, by the way, on your Critics' Choice nomination for lead actress in a comedy, where I hear you're also going to be presenting, which is cool.
Yes, I am. I have no idea what I'm presenting, but I will be there presenting something.
Well, that's good. Hopefully it'll be only the first of 2 times you get on stage. But you actually have the distinction of being the first male or female lead in a drama or a comedy to get nominated in both categories, which is pretty cool.
For
Um,
the same show?
yes, for the same show, and just at all. I mean, at all. Just in any show, it
That's
doesn't
great.
matter. Yeah,
That's
which is really cool. So you have that to hold on to in the record books for now.
perfect.
Were you surprised by the nomination?
Yeah, I don't follow any of it. Like, I don't know when. I actually learned about it from Twitter. I had no idea. When somebody tweeted at me, like, congrats on your nom. And I was like a nom nom nom, like I just ate something good. Like, what are you talking about? So I clicked on it and there was a link and it was awesome. It was before my agents or anybody had ever called me or emailed me about it. So I guess I just learn everything from Twitter now.
Seems like it, everything.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, it's full of information, right? Up to the minute.
It's
But
becoming the way we learn our news, which is scary.
yeah, that's very true. I mean, it was scary when we were like, oh, what's the internet? Let's find news there. And then all of a sudden, it's Twitter. But also, how great was it to see Jeremy Allen White finally recognized for his great work on the show? I mean, I know you guys are probably really close, so it must have been
Yeah.
just doubly awesome.
It was great. We went out and had a beer in the East Village that night. It was great. It's he's a fantastic actor. I think he has a huge career ahead of him. He's dynamic. He's funny. He's naturalistic. I think he's just dynamite. So it's really, I love when I have scenes with him.
And on the award subject, you've chatted with us several times before, and we always ask you the same question. Um, you're nominated for an Emmy this time in the comedy category. Do you have an episode in mind that you would submit to Emmy judges as your best? I mean, we've been debating two over here. Got
Well, I'd
Iron
love to
City.
hear them because I haven't. You've only said Iron City, which is the other
Yeah.
option.
The other option we were thinking was My Oldest Daughter, and that's where you're driving and the road rage guy comes and bashes in your windshield.
Right.
And also you've got some good one-liners in there, and that was pre-drug, pre-prison. I mean, everything that wouldn't really be a
I
comedy.
suppose it depends. I'm not very strategic, so I think I'll leave that up to, the powers that be to decide that. I suppose it depends whether or not I think that my strongest ability is as a dramatic actress in a comedy or as a comedic actress in a comedy. I guess I think to myself, it's not funniest actress, it's best actress in a comedy. So for me, I would probably go Iron City because I think that's my strongest performance, and kind of ignore the category. But I'm honestly not even there. I'm so jazzed that people care about what I did. And if it comes to that, then I'll be blessed to have that difficult decision to make. And if not, it's great to just have people care about the work that you made. It's really, it's so moving and it's really amazing. So thanks for even talking to me today. It's a really good feeling.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, and it sounds like you're on the right track. I mean, we've even have some big Shameless fans on the board. One in particular, Dylan, who said you should just go with Iron City because you would just stand out in a category full of these funny ladies with a great performance. Like you said, in a comedy, it doesn't say funniest lady in a comedy,
Right.
lead actress in a comedy. So that's great. Um,
Right.
So what do you got going on? I know you mentioned Comet with Justin Long that's premiering tonight at the Alien Film Festival, and season 5 of Shameless, I imagine, starts in a few weeks. Anything else on the?
I also have a movie that I did with Hilary Swank that's also a huge knee slapper. Not. She plays a woman who's dying of ALS, and I'm her nurse, kind of hospice style. So it's very uplifting. And that comes out later this year. It's based on a book called You're Not You.
Gotcha. Well, thanks so much for spending time with us today. Congratulations again on the Critics' Choice nomination, and best of luck on Emmy nomination morning.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.